Welcome to a video for Math Skills 1.1. Use an appropriate number of significant figures. So when we use our calculator to work out a number, it's not usually appropriate to record the figure exactly how it's written on the calculator. You're going to have to choose how many significant figures to record your answer to. And students find this really difficult. So make sure you get your head around it. There's usually 1 or 2 marks in an exam, which you lose if you don't do it to the right number of significant figures. So you need to really make sure that you get your head around this, because they're easy marks to lose. So if you're using experimental data in your calculation, then the answer should be recorded to the same number of significant figures as the original data with the least number of significant figures. So sometimes you've got more than one piece of data and you use the piece of data that's got the least number of significant figures. It's important to remember that when we round to significant figures, we don't start counting until we get a number that's not 0. So it's best to look at some examples for this. So if we were asked to calculate P from PV to then RT, which you may or may not have met yet, then P is just pressure, V is volume, N's the number of moles, R's the molar gas constant, and T is temperature. So here's some typical data that we would be asked to use to work out P. So if we had V as 1.276 meters cubed, then that's 4 significant figures. R is 8.31, which is to 3 significant figures, and T is 297.05 Kelvin, which is to 5 significant figures. So we said on the previous slide that you record the answer to the same number of significant figures as the least significant figures. So in this case, the R is the one that's got the least number of significant figures. It's got 3 significant figures. So when you calculate the pressure, you then record your answer to 3 significant figures. So here's some examples of actually how to round down and up to significant figures. So if you were asked to round 14.786548 to 2 significant figures. So you start on the left hand side. The first number is 1, second number is 4. However, you need to look at the next number as well. And if that next number, so in this case it's 2 significant figures, so if the third number in this case, if it's closer to 10 than to 0, then you round up. And if it's closer to 0 than 10, then you round down. So in this case, the third number is 7, so 14.7. So 7 is closer to the to 10 than it is to 1. So we round this up then to 15, because the 7 means, the 0.7 means that it's closer to 15 than it is to 14. So it's better to round it up to 15. The second example, so if you're asked to round 1.643 to 2 significant figures, then going from the left, the first 2 numbers are 1.6. The third number is a 4. Now because that's closer to 0 than 10, because it's less than 5, then the 6 remains a 6. So it becomes 1.6. So if we round this down to 2 significant figures, it's 1.6. So if it's a 5 or above, you round it up. If it's less than a 5, you round it down. So third example, remember we said you don't start counting the significant figures until you get to a non-zero number. So if you're asked to round 0.056579 to 2 significant figures, then you don't start counting until you reach the first non-zero number. So it's 0.0, they don't count the significant figures, and then it's 5 and then 6. Now of course we then need to look at the third significant figure, and that's a 5, which means you round up, so it becomes 0.057.